The other terrible team down in the AFC South, down in Houston, Texas, and that is the Houston Texans. So they were projected to be one of the very worst, if not the very worst teams in 2021. But somehow, some way, they managed to match 4 wins again in 2021. From 2020, they were 4 wins. And in 2021, they were also 4 wins. And this is without Deshaun Watson, who was undergoing all those sexual allegations during that time. So they had the rookie Davis Mills and veteran Tyrod Taylor swap back and forth between the starting job. And Davis Mills, he was somehow, some way able to work with that crappy talent given to him. Pretty much everyone was on a short-term deal with the talent around him. And the Texans, for the crap that they were given, for the crappy roster assembled, they managed to net some upset wins over the LA Chargers and the Tennessee Titans this season, that last season. So Houston Texans with their head coach, David Culley, they were they were terrible, but you got some confidence boosting upset wins. Now, unfortunately though, David Culley was one and done, and in came defensive coordinator Lovie Smith, who has had previous head coaching experience with the Chicago Bears. Took them to the Super Bowl, but that was a long time ago. So who knows what Lovie Smith is going to bring to the table. So your goal for 2022, if you're the Houston Texans, is Davis Mills a guy that you can rely upon long term? Now, he's played a good sample of the 2021 season. Now, how do you see him being for a full season? That remains to be seen. And how do you see him with a still crappy roster? That also remains to be seen. So the Texans, because they blew their load on many players in years past, thanks to Bill O'Brien's dumbass, they couldn't sign just about anybody. They couldn't sign many people. But they did manage to re-sign one of their key players, like receiver Brandon Cooks. He's staying on with the Houston Texans for whatever reason. They also managed to add defensive end Mario Addison from the New York Giants, corner Steven Nelson from the Philadelphia Eagles, guard A.J. Cann from the Jacksonville Jaguars. So you're getting something for the offensive line. And maybe you could get a potential decent running back in Marlon Mack from the Indianapolis Colts. Jonathan Taylor, Nyheim Hines are in Indianapolis now. So there's not really a place for Marlon Mack. So down you go to Houston. Now, looking at some of their losses, they did lose Tyrod Taylor to the New York Giants. So your insurance policy in case Davis Mills fucked up is gone. Justin Reed, the safety, went to the Kansas City Chiefs. Outside linebacker Jake Martin is also gone to the New York Jets. So their defense is kind of got a little worse when it was already bad to begin with. And then, of course, the big trade of their quarterback, Deshaun Watson, to the Cleveland Browns went through. He got traded in that massive trade that included 3 first-round picks. So the Texans, they did pretty well with those picks. So they got the corner from LSU, Derek Stingley Jr. He was coming off a torn ACL, I believe, and if whether or not he'll be ready for the start of the season, hey, he could be a good contributor for them. They also got a tackle by the name of Kenyon Green, solid player, and they got in the later rounds they got safety Jalen Pitchier, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, from Baylor, and they got a receiver from Alabama by the name of John Mechie III. So maybe an option for Davis Mills in that offense. So for the Texans, they didn't do much in free agency, but their draft additions, they might be a positive in what's gonna likely be another down year for them, because Derek Stingley Jr. is pretty good. He is pretty good. He was pretty good in college. Now, can he stay healthy? That's the other thing. Alabama receiver John Mechie III, he's pretty solid. If you put him with the right quarterback, if Davis Mills continues to develop, okay, then who knows? Now, unfortunately for the Texans, yes, you traded away Deshaun Watson, but you're also facing the repercussions of that too, because it's been reported that the Texans allowed that to happen, allowed those things that Deshaun Watson did to happen. So they are also in big trouble. I'm not sure if that got settled already by the Texans side, but to allow that to happen, like how can you deem yourselves the good guys? Like, seriously, man, that's just awful. So looking at the Texans' key games of 2022, it's your very first game at home against the Indianapolis Colts. You gotta at least inspire some confidence at Davis Mills. It can be a capable starter, even though it's just week 1. But you don't want to go into the season like thinking that Davis Mills sucks. he's a terrible quarterback. At least if you're looking at it from the Texans, you gotta inspire some confidence in Davis Mills against what could be a very good Indianapolis Colts team. Then, of course, the revenge game for the LA Chargers in week 4. The Chargers, granted, they don't have any positive COVID tests or any other terrible injuries by then. They're going to be out gunning for revenge against the Houston Texans for that week 16 loss last year. So look out for that revenge game there. So the question being for the Texans in this season with David Culley, considering that, well, they didn't really improve much else aside from maybe the secondary, maybe the offensive line with Kenyon Green, and the guard AJ Cann. It's like, what do they do? Like, how do they even approach this season? Like should they just lose them all, or should they just ride the wave with Davis Mills? Like, what do they want? What do they even want to accomplish with Lovie Smith as their head coach? Like, do they want to establish a winning culture? Like, what do the Texans even want to do? Why do they even want to be in this season? Like, because to be honest with you, I can't even foresee them winning like more than 3 games. Like, to be honest, like that's just being honest, because this is a very, very, like, I'd say it's even worse than the Jaguars. It's even worse than the Jaguars roster. And for as crappy as an ownership that the Jaguars are, the Texans are even worse. The Texans are so bad. So, like, what did the Texans do? Like, what did the Texans even do for this season? Like, do they just lose them all? Like, but don't make it so obvious? Or do you just run the mill with Davis Mills and see what he has? So that's the biggest question of them all. But again, I project 3 wins max, because this roster has not improved because, well, they don't have money to spend, and the front office doesn't seem that interested in improving this roster. They don't have a long-term answer at quarterback yet. The receiving game, aside from Brandon Cooks and maybe John Mechie III, it's bad. And your defense is still kind of meh. So for the Texans, you're in for a very long season yet again.